So you've decided that you want to play Nine Kings. Let's talk about what your first time playing looks like and how to get started playing Nine Kings. Once you download the game, you will click Start and you'll start a new run. So when you start out Nine Kings, the only king that you will have unlocked is the King of Nothing. In order to unlock the other kings, you're going to have to hit certain milestones just by playing King of Nothing or the other kings that you eventually unlock. So at the beginning, you will only have King of Nothing to play, and the only difficulty you'll have unlocked is Peasant. You will have 0 XP, right? And you will have no perks. So if you go and click on your perks, you'll have nothing. Because when you play, you will get XP and you will then unlock perks. Before we get into the game, let's talk about what each card does. So the castle is your base, and it is not movable, right? Once you place it down, you can't get rid of it, you can't move it, unless later down the road, once you get King of Nomads, you can use a migration card to move it. But for the time being, you can't change it. Next, we have soldiers. They are balanced melee troops. They gain 1% damage per new unit. Then we have paladins. I like to use paladins as tanks for my front line, so I like to get a lot of them. So they are defensive melee troops, and damage buffs also increase its HP. So you want to give them damage and then boost their HP as well. You have archers, which deal weak but fast ranged damage, so they stand in your backline and shoot pretty fast, and so if you can get their damage up, they can do a lot of damage. Scout towers shoot powerful single target arrows, so they do a lot of damage but only shoot one arrow at a time to hit enemy troops, but they're pretty damaging. Farm is a support building, and every year it adds 1 unit to 1 adjacent troop plot. So if you put it down next to a paladin plot, let's say, every year you will get 1 more paladin, which is great. If you level up your farm, you get an additional troop for each level that farm is. Next, we have the Wildcard. It levels up a target plot, any plot, as long as it has room to level up. Each plot can be leveled up to level 3 for the time being. Later down the road, you can take a perk that can let your castle level up additional times, but for now, everything can get to just level 3. The blacksmith is another support building like the farm. The blacksmith adds plus 2% attack damage to adjacent troops and constructions every year. So that is also per level. So if it's level 2, then it will happen twice. But unlike the farm, it is for each adjacent plot and not just the plot right next to it and only one of them, right? This is to 1 adjacent troop, and this is to all adjacent troops and constructions. And lastly, we have an enchantment called Steel Coat. So this cancels the first hit the target unit would take every battle. So enchantments can stack. So if you have Steel Coat on a troop and they get hit by an enemy arrow, they don't take damage for the first time. But then after that, they take damage. Let's say you have 3 steel coats on a troop. Then the first 3 times they get hit, they don't get hit and they don't take damage, which is very nice. So now that we've gone over the base, the troops, the tower, the support buildings, and I don't even know what I'd call this. I guess this is an enchantment as well. The wild card and steel coat are the enchantments. We're going to play on peasant difficulty with 0 perks because we will have no perks when you're first starting out. And I'll walk you through how I would set up my base. So you press play, and you're always going to be fighting your own rebellion and then 2 other kings. So here we have our castle. We have a plot of a 3x3, and so we are not allowed to play any other cards until we put our base down, right, our castle. So I'm going to put the castle down here. I'm in year 1, and I need to have troops so that they can battle the troops here. Every year, you're going to play all of the cards in your hand until you get down to 2 cards. So once I play one of these cards, year 1 will start, the battle will start, and I'll have to fight somebody. So year 1, it's really important that you either get a set of troops down or a tower. I prefer to get troops down because then the troops stand out here in the field fighting, and once you're out of troops, if the enemy kills all of your troops, they start running to your base. And if they reach your base, then you lose a life. So let's put our soldiers down and we can talk about it. And right now I have my castle on auto. So what that does is it auto targets, and the castle throws a rock projectile. So if you hover here, let's take the castle. If you hover here, you can see the damage, the hits per second, crit chance on the troops. We can see the health, the damage, hits per second, move speed, and crit chance. And then up here in the top right corner, you can see how many troops we have. So we have 9 soldiers. You start with 9 soldiers. Every troop card has a different number of starting units and units that you get per level. So that's what we have. And then, if you saw, once the battle ended, we got to choose a card. So if you win your battle, you get to choose a card from that king's pool of cards. So just like the King of Nothing has those 9 cards that we looked at the front screen, every king has a set of cards. Most of them have a combination of troops, enchantments, support buildings, or towers. We can't get another king's base, so that's not able to happen. So yeah, but what I'm going to do now is put down a blacksmith between my castle and my soldiers. So one of my tips is to plan out your board. Since we started with a blacksmith, we know that if I put this down here, I can get all 4 buildings, including my base, which is an important plot to buff. They can all benefit from plus 2% attack damage every year. And it's year 2. So I have to get to year 33. Well, I have to win in year 33 to win the game. So I'm going to put my blacksmith down in the middle. And then, because I know the King of Nothing's cards, I will probably put my scout tower over here. And then over here, I'll probably put a troop card and then try to get a farm so that I can start getting more units in my 2 plots that will be next to my blacksmith and my farm. I'm benefiting from the adjacencies from both of them. For now, we're going to put this blacksmith down. We're going to see we got plus 2% damage to our soldiers and to our base. So see, the damage was 10 before, and now it is 10.2. So we're fighting the King of Stone here, and my soldiers and the base took care of them. And now we get to choose a card. I'm going to take a flamethrower, and if you see the white number on these plots, the white number is the damage that plot did last combat. So my soldiers did 28 damage and my castle did 52 damage. So that is telling me that my castle is doing about double the damage as my soldiers, and so I would like to continue to buff both of them, but this is where more of my damage is coming from. An important setting, so if you go to your settings, you can change that. You can turn blood off if you don't want blood. You can have your battle slow down when you run out of troops. I have skip building pop-ups on, so we'll turn that off so you can see the difference. I will not hide the battle damage anymore so you guys can see. And the plot damage, that's where that white number I just said, that's showing you that. I have screen shake off. I have blood on, and endless red is when you get past year 33, the screen gets increasingly red unless you turn this off, and it's rough. So we're going to see our battle damage now. I'm going to put down a scout tower because that's a King of Nothing card, and I think we should do that so you can see it. And I am on the slowest speed. So up here in the corner, we've got the 3 speeds. And now that I turned the battle damage on, you can see the damage that my soldiers and the castle are doing. So I'm going to take my castle, and every so often you get a thing called a royal decree. They are benefits that help you. Each king has their own unique royal decrees, so they're like this, whatever color that king is, and then the gray ones are the like generic royal decrees. So this one, every poison effect is applied twice. I don't have any cards that do poison. King of Nothing doesn't have any cards that do poison. I don't really use poison, so this to me is not very helpful, so I'm not going to pick that one. Development gives 1 wild card for each empty plot I have. Well, I have... You can click this I button to check out your plot. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 empty plots, so I would get 5 wild cards. And if you remember, the wild cards are going to let me level up any plot up until it reaches level 3. So I could get that. That would be interesting. Or I can take war horns. So summons are 50% stronger. I don't have any summons. That is a very King of Blood kind of thing. So I don't have any of those, so that's not going to benefit me very much. We'll take development. But if you didn't want that, you can re-roll and you'll get 3 new options. So let's take development. So see, now I got 5 wild cards because I have 5 empty plots. I still need to play down to until I hold 2 cards in my hand for the year 4 battle to start. Right, and up here we can see our year 4. So I'm going to level up my castle twice. So see, we're getting extra damage now. So now it's at 16.3 damage instead of the 10.2. And it'll keep benefiting from Blacksmith. I'm going to wildcard the Blacksmith twice, so it is now level 3. I'm going to put a Flamethrower down, and then wildcard my Scout Tower. So see, when we level it up, it increases the damage and stuff. So now... And if you see the red numbers, those red numbers are critical hits. It doubles your damage, your crit chance. If we can get our crit chance up, that'll be nice. So here are some King of Stone cards since we beat King of Stone. I don't really want any of these. This Cauldron would give adjacent plots poison damage. Walls build walls, and Trebuchet throws a bunch of projectiles. It's not the best, so I'm going to reroll. And so when you reroll, your cost goes up by 10 gold. So trappers build traps that like sit on your field and accumulate between years if they don't get used. I don't really want them. I don't really want any of these. I'm going to take the walls though because I don't want to spend 20 of my 26 gold to reroll. So I'll just take the walls, and for now I'm going to wildcard the Scout Tower. So I got plus 40% damage from leveling up. It is level 3. So here, look at all that damage. And here, I am going to reroll. These are King of Greed cards. I'm going to reroll and try to get a beacon. So here is a beacon. Every year it adds plus 2% attack speed to adjacent troops and construction. So it's basically the attack speed version of the Blacksmith. So then here, this happens once a game, you get a blessing. That will be happening in 9 years. Peacetime. So it will double the HP of the card on the target plot in the year of the prophecy. So if I put troops in this spot, right, if you hover here, it will remind you what plot is being affected if there's a plot being affected. Doubles the HP of the card there. So I would like to probably put some paladins there because I want them to be tankier. This happens at year 6. Every 9 Kings run, you get a prophecy, and there's a bunch of different ones. And you can choose to ignore it or you can choose to play into it. I try to play into it, but if it's too disruptive to whatever my strategy is, then I won't do it. So this beacon is another support building. Like I said, it is doing attack speed instead of attack damage, but it works the same as the Blacksmith. So I'm going to put it here next to my castle and my Scout Tower so that my 2 buildings get buffed. So if you saw the yellow hits per second go off, we're going to start raising the hits per second in addition to the damage from the blacksmith. Wow, we're getting lucky here. So we're going to take this Quarry. This Quarry is a really good card. We just got some of the best cards in the game. So the Quarry is similar to the blacksmith, except instead of it being only adjacent buildings, it is all towers and your base. So the flamethrower, the scout tower, and the base are all towers or bases, and this doesn't have to be next to them. So I'm going to put it over here in this corner. So we're getting a lot of damage, and the blacksmith is buffing the soldiers. And then the Quarry and the blacksmith are buffing the base and the scout tower. And then the beacon is also doing the base and the scout tower. I don't really want any of these options for now, but I don't want to reroll. So I'm going to take mortgage because I might eventually want to destroy a plot, and I will get 30 gold for it. And now it's time to wage war against another king. I can fight the King of Blood or King of Spells, or I could reroll. You can see down in your bottom corner here what your current enemies are. We have our Rebellion, we have King of Greed, and King of Stone. I think I will take the King of Spells. And once you get more comfortable understanding which kings have which cards, you'll be able to strategically choose which kings you want to fight or make peace with when the time comes. So the reason I'm choosing King of Spells is I would like to get a Spire to heal my walls. So now I'm going to Wildcard Beacon. And one of my strategies with King of Nothing, if I hadn't gotten this development card, or decree, where I got 5 wild cards, I would really urge you to use the wild cards on non-King of Nothing cards, because it's harder to get the cards that aren't yours. So I'm going to take this flamethrower so that I can upgrade my flamethrower. So now it is level 2. And notice that every unit and every tower is unique. So flamethrower does a low amount of damage, right? 1.3 damage. I think it starts with 1. It starts with 1 damage. And it's doing 10 hits a second, compared to the scout tower is doing a lot of damage, but low hits per second. So now I'm going to take the paladins, and here in year 10, when you see this little icon, it means we are going to be getting a shop. You can buy cards from every king in the shop, and so it always starts out at 10 for a reroll. The first card you buy is going to be 30 gold. Each card that you buy increases by, I think, 15 gold. So I don't want any of these. You can always check your base to look at your plot and look at your cards in your hand, but you can't do anything while you're in this mode. You can just look with this eyeball here, and when you've decided, you just click on a card to buy it, or you press leave when you're ready to go. I'm going to put my paladins down, and again, I wanted to get those down early because I will be able to double their HP as long as they're on the field when the prophecy happens in, what is that, year 16? I'm going to take this Earthworks card. It unlocks adjacent plots, and it returns those cards to your hand. So let me show you. If I Earthworks this beacon, I get these 2 plots, and my level 2 beacon comes back to my hand. I'm just going to play those again, and I got back down to 2 cards, so now it's going. So now we're fighting King of Spells. Alright, and here's that Spire I was talking about. It heals your units that are closest to death during battle, and that also includes your walls. So, that's a good one. Combustion, unit causes area damage equal to 20% of its attack when it kills an enemy. That's a good enchantment to have. And then shamans are a troop. They buff allies based on their own damage. I'm going to take the spire. And now, when this appears, when we have this expansion icon, it means we get to pick a plot to expand our kingdom. So I think I'm going to take a plot over here. I'm hoping to still get a farm here and then maybe put down more troops here. For now, I'm going to put the spire down so that my units can get healed. I'm going to put it back here because it is a tower, and so the beacon can make it shoot the beams faster. So if you see here, that's the spire healing my troops. And we can see this damage going. We're doing well. We're going to take overinvest. So overinvest, you can spend 30 of your gold to increase every stat of a troop or tower by 15%. And if you don't have 30 gold, then it will not work. It will take the card, but it won't work. So we do have 30 gold, and I am going to use it right now on our base. So it gave it a 15% stat boost. So now we're doing 38 damage and 0.6 hits per second. And now that is the stat that will be used by the blacksmith and the quarry to add the 2% damage every year. And the beacon. So here I'll just take a wild card because it can act as either of those cards, really. Now we get to choose another Royal Decree. I'm normally a fan of gambling, but since this is a beginner video, I think that it's better that you're able to pick your cards. When you take this gambling Royal Decree, you don't get to choose your cards anymore, which can be frustrating when you're looking for something. So we're going to look at Armory is another King of Nothing decree, where all of your troops get 3 stacks of steel coat, and then gunpowder increases the damaging range of area attacks by 30%. Gunpowder is pretty good on King of Nothing because it increases your base damage, right? The castle hurls that stone and it's bigger area. So that's what I am leaning towards, except I do like the steel coat stack. But when I am trying to choose Royal Decrees, I think about what can I get cards to do and what can I not increase using cards. Attack area is one of the things that there is not a card in the game that is going to do that. So I can get 3 seal coat cards, or 6 I guess, to put 3 on each of my troops, but I can't increase the area size. So I'm going to increase my area size by 30%, and we should be able to see a noticeable difference in the base damage attack area. So since the paladins are going to get double their HP in 2 years, I'm going to wildcard them so that they can get an increase. So right now they have 46.9 health, and once they get upgraded, they got plus 50% HP, so they're now at 74. So I would like to get them to level 3 before this prophecy happens, the peacetime, so that they can get even more HP, so that that can get doubled. I have 76 gold. I'm gonna reroll and try to get another spire. And I got it. So I'm gonna take that spire and I'm going to level it up to level 2. So it got, I think, 50% more damage. So we are at 16.2 now. And so now we can see this very faint outline of this, where the stone is. I do wish that we could see it better, but it's a little difficult. The beacon is level 2, so you can see that with the diamonds down here, right? That are filled. So the castle has the 3 diamonds under it. That means it's level 3. This means it's level 2, and so therefore I will take a beacon to level it up. So peacetime happened, the prophecy happened, So now my paladin's HP got doubled, so they have 158 health. We're going to level up our beacon, so it is now level 3, which means that we no longer are really looking for a beacon card. What I'd like to do now is I still would like a farm card, and I'd like to increase my number of troops. What I'm gonna do though is take an Earthworks. I really like Earthworks. I'm gonna use it over here on the Quarry. And the reason I'm doing it on the Quarry is because if I did it on like the Spire or any of these non support buildings, the troops, when you place the cards back down, are going to lose all of the damage and the attack speed that they had. Especially these guys, right? These guys have 168 health and have gotten their damage increased by the blacksmith the whole game. If I Earthworks them, I'm going to get base like level 1 paladins when I put them back down. So they're not going to get the health bonus from the prophecy or any of that. So therefore, that's why I've been Earthworksing the support buildings. I think I am trying to debate where to put my quarry back down. Right here, again, I'd like to get a farm. And then here, maybe I'd like to get like forest if I ever can get one that increases HP every year, like kind of like the blacksmith. So I'm going to put my quarry back down where it was. Actually, I'll put it back here. Leave that spot open for something to maybe buff my paladins further. And so here we're shooting them. And here you can change these in the middle of combat. You're not bound to a certain speed. I don't really want Vault or... You know, I'll take some Thieves. Why not? We'll try them out. We'll put them here. So these Thieves are going to jump into the back line. And watch. Where are they? They're over here. So they're in the back line taking out these archers, while the front line takes out the people closest to our base. And now I'm gonna look. My paladins are not level 3 yet. I would like them to be, so I'm gonna take them. And now we get to expand our kingdom again. We've gotten really lucky getting the Earthworks. I'm gonna take this plot for free. I'll level up my paladins. And I like all the sound effects that you get with the beacon and the blacksmith and the quarry going off. Here's our assassins, our thieves in the back, you can see. I'm gonna take this offering card. I'm going to put my walls down here. The King of Stone is these wallmaker cards are the only walls in the game. So it's not like each king has unique walls. Just these are the only walls in the game. It puts up a little wall around your troop or around your plots. And we'll take a quarry. Level up our quarry. Okay. And this overwork is, in my opinion, the best royal decree in the game, like overall, at least for my playstyle. I like to use the support buildings a lot if I can get them. But this has all of your support buildings apply their effect one more time. So even if they're level 3 and applying their effect 3 times, it gets a 4th one to go off. And that's for all of them. So I'm going to take overwork because... So that'll have beacon go off 4 times. Blacksmith will go off 4 times. Quarry is going to get upgraded to level 2, and then it will get the additional hit off of overwork, and that's it. But the walls start at 600 HP, and they're just kind of there as like a last line of defense if you run out of troops, to keep enemy troops from running into your castle. And I'm going to take this wild card. Alright, and that sound and this icon means that the Rainbow Army is on its way to fight us. The Rainbow Army is a special kind of army. You fight them once per game. And I think they can spawn anywhere after like year 11. All the other armies that you fight are kings that you can eventually play, right? You can unlock them and play their cards and all that. As of right now, you cannot play as the Rainbow Army. They have 12 special cards. They're the only king / army with more than the 9 cards. Everybody has 9 cards except the Rainbow Army. They have special lucky cards is what they're called, and they look rainbowy, and they're pretty, I don't want to say overpowered, but they're very powerful cards. So we're gonna fight them, and we will wild card probably this Quarry. So I'm getting so much plus % damage per second. So these are ogres and scapegoats. And you can always take your thing off auto and shoot manually. We'll look at that next year. So we just got really lucky. And so this is, you know, an RNG roguelike deck building game, and I could have spent a bunch of money re-rolling, but I really like Temple. Temple is probably one of the best cards in the game, especially with Overwork. So Temple increases 10% of a random stat of a random plot. So that happens every year, and it's per level. And with Overwork, it'll happen twice. Haste gives your troops, or like the flamethrower has a movement speed. Anything with movement speed, it will give it plus 200% movement speed. Patronage is also really good when you get the perk that will let you level up your base more. It can level up your base plot by 3 levels, so you're basically getting 3 base cards at once, which is really nice. So we're going to take Temple and put that down. We do get to make peace. I am done with my King of Greed cards. I don't really need any other cards from his deck. I really only was using his beacon, but I could still benefit from King of Stones, Flamethrower, and Wallmaker, so we'll leave him in the loop and peace out with King of Greed. So I'm still at war with Stone and Spells. So I'm gonna put my Temple down, and I'll just put that over here. So see here, it gave these, I don't see, they're very fast. They went off twice. It gave plus 10% to 2 buildings. And it doesn't have to be the same stat, so it can give plus 10% damage to one thing and plus 10% attack speed to another thing, or plus 10% move speed. It can be whatever. And I don't really need any of these. What I am going to do is take a library. I'm going to put my library down, and next year I'm going to use my offering card. Yeah, library failed. I'm going to use my offering card to get rid of my library and get 3 random tome cards. And the tome cards are just the cards in our hand. So I'm interested to see what we'll get there. And here's our first stack of steel coat that I'm going to take. And I will buy a wild card for 30. And so now you see if we hover, the price went up by 45. So I don't really want to do that. So here are some other cards we haven't seen except for Earthworks. These brown cards are King of Progress cards, and this lighter blue, like periwinkle-ish color, is King of Nomads. And we've seen this from King of Greed. So we're gonna leave. So the library, if I put Steel Coat, here, I'll give it a chance to go off, okay? So I'm gonna put Steel Coat on these paladins. So now when you hover, you can see the little icon under the crit chance there at the bottom. And so that's showing me that I have 1 steel coat stack. When you get additional steel coat stacks, there will be a number that shows. So the library has a 50% chance of duplicating an enchantment of 1 adjacent troop. So we'll see if it goes off, but I'm going to wild card my temple so that 3 buildings or troops get plus 10%. So these guys, wow, we just got so lucky. So now you can see they've got 3. So there's a 50% chance each time the library procs, so once per level or for overwork, and we got the 50-50 coin flip twice in a row. So we got 2 steel coat stacks. I'm going to reroll, and I'll take combustion. Why not? Something else for our library. It's proving to be useful, so it gets to stay for now. So combustion is another enchantment. Unit causes area damage equal to 20% of its attack when it kills an enemy. These guys are doing 56 damage, and these guys are doing 9 damage. So I'm going to give the combustion stack to the paladins because it's based on the attack damage. So let's see if the library goes off. So it failed twice this time. So we're back to 50-50 of it actually being 50-50. Here's what it looks like when you don't have auto on. You can see that bar at the bottom fills up, and when it's totally filled at the bar, you can click or you can press and hold. Let's reroll. So see, reroll went up by 20 or up by 10 to 20 gold. Now it's 30 gold. And I'm just showing you that it just keeps increasing, and I am just not getting anything. I will take a cauldron to show you what the poison damage looks like. And this is as big as the base gets. So you start with the 3x3 in the middle, and through Earthworks and the tower expansion, you can get up to a 5x5. So I'm gonna purchase here, I guess. I'm gonna put my cauldron down here so that 2 of my troops get poison damage. Library failed twice. So see the little purple flakes on these? That is showing that there's poison damage. So if I press and hold, I get to control this, and it will go off as soon as it reaches the bar is full. Otherwise, you can just leave it on auto. It does the same thing. I'm gonna put some steel coat. I'll put a steel coat on them, on the thieves. Lots of damage. Okay, they got a steel coat stack, and that's it. And my towers are doing a lot of damage. My scout tower is doing 671 damage every shot that goes off, which is pretty huge. I'm going to take these walls, and I don't want any of these. These are the same ones that we saw, I think, the first time. Not Poison Thorns. So Poison Thorns is every time enemies attack my units, those enemies are going to get poisoned. I don't really care. I can take another Overwork, and I kind of want to because I really like Overwork, but let's see what else there is. We have Leatherworks, doubles the movement speed of all of my units. I don't really need that, I feel. And this is just part of the game, right? Is you're like, ooh, do I take this or do I reroll and try to get something better, or is it going to be worse? So taking your time on choosing your decrees and your cards and in the shop, like, definitely just take your time in this game, especially when you're just starting out. You know, read, use your eyeball to look at your base, look at your cards. I'm gonna reroll since we already have Overwork. And I could take Venom, every poison effect applied twice. I am going to take Gambling here so that I can show you what that looks like and how to play around it. So we are going to level up our walls. So they are now at 1200 health. So we got a stack of Steel Coat here, so they're at 5 coats Steel Coat. And I put this back on auto, and see if I bump the speed up, everything still works as it goes. You know, it's just slower animation. So I'm going to put these Warlocks down, and I'm not going to use them. I'm going to Offering to get 3 Tome cards. Ooh, okay. So with these green cards are King of Nature cards, and these are pretty nice. So this clone card is very similar to a wild card, except it's got a little bit more flexibility. So I'm going to use it here. I'm going to get another temple card. And instead of putting this down to give my temple level 3, I am able to put it down somewhere else, and then Overwork will go off on this temple, so I will get 3, and this will be a level 1, and Overwork will go off twice. So instead of getting 4 procs, I will get 5 for now, until I can upgrade this with like a wild card. I'm going to put this next to the library. Procreate is also a very nice card. It adds 9 units to the selected troop. So I'm going to put that on my paladins because they are my tanks. So that gave them extra troops. Shields is an enchantment that adds 10 HP or 10% HP to the target, whichever is higher. I'm going to buff these paladins. So they've got 955 health. And lots of things are getting extra damage. And we are very quickly approaching year 33. So next year we'll have a shop, and then we play, and then we'll have to play all of our cards. So here's our shop. Here's that forest I was looking for, and here's the farm I was looking for so much earlier in the game. I mean, we're about to be fighting them, and I got a farm and a scout tower. So it's really not worth me buying and using them. I think I will Offering the library, so I will buy this farm card so I can get a level 2 farm, and then I'm just gonna leave because the next card I buy is 45 gold, and I don't really want any of these. So then if I re-rolled, I would lose 10 gold, and I wouldn't be able to buy anything. So I'm just going to leave. I'm going to Offering this library. Swords is similar to shields, except it is adding 5 damage or 5% damage, whichever's higher. So I'll add that to the thieves, and then I will put down a level 2 farm. And I'll put a scout tower down, I guess, since I can't upgrade that one. And here we can see our castle is doing the most damage, which is to be expected. So we can see all of this damage here. And anytime you see a red number, that means that that unit crit. So that's always good to see. So we're in year 32. So next year we're going to have to play all of our cards. Most of our stuff is not upgraded to level 3, so I really would like to use this overhaul card. So I'm going to Earthworks these walls to get this plot over here, and I'm going to put down 2 walls, but then I'm going to overhaul one of them. So that leveled up my spire and my scout tower. So it destroys a plot, but it upgrades 2 of your plots at random. So it's worth a shot. So see all that? The red that is happening is crits. So our castle is doing the most damage. So now we're at year 33. We're going to be fighting King of Stone. And so he is, going to attack us. So we have to play all of our cards. So instead of right now the year procking, now that I got down to the 2 cards, I have to play all of them. So there's no reason for me to destroy anything. Gold is useless at year 33. I mean, I could if I wanted to play endless mode, but considering this is a guide for like the first time you're playing, we're not going to go into endless mode. So we're going to mortgage that. There is this well that I have not utilized the whole game, but if you take gambling early, you get the 2 cards, and sometimes we've gotten really lucky with Earthworks to expand our base, but if you just don't have enough room on your board, you can throw cards in the well and get 9 gold for them. So if you end up, you don't want to spend the money to reroll, and there's like a card that you're like, I don't really want that, but I need to pick something. So you can throw it in the pit and get 9 gold. So that's cool. And these archers, I will just put down back here. So all of our support buildings are going off. The temple is going off. Farm's going off. And here's Mr. King of Stone. And we're fighting him. He's got his own health bar here. And he's gone. And that's our first win. So this is where you can continue playing. If you click this, this is an experimental mode and glitches can occur and your computer can get laggy. Feel free to do that. You can click deem it acceptable, or you can click start another run. And that will bring you to this screen. It will show you your time played, how many years you survived, how, like, all of your stats, right? This is how many units you killed and trained, your gold, your spells used, your constructions built, plots leveled up, and plots destroyed. And then you can hover here on the end screen. If you willingly end your run, you can hover and see the stats. Last I checked, when you lose, if you lose all 3 of your lives, you will also get this screen. In a defeat, you have lost, but then it doesn't let you hover. So I don't know, if you want to check out your stats, if you're like me and you really enjoy the stats in this game of like, oh wow, it's so cool that we grew the damage of the castle from 10 to 572 and the hits per second from like 0.4 to 4.4, like, that to me is interesting, and I really like checking that out. And like, oh, these paladins had a lot of health, like, it's so cool, and they had 6 stacks of steel coat. Like, anyway, if you want to look at those, be sure to look at those before your year 33 battle, before you put all of those cards out. If you're worried that you're going to lose at some point, you can check those out then. Because once you're at this end screen, at least right now in this patch, you can't see them. I'm hoping that will change in the future, but me rambling about it isn't going to fix it. So anyway, that's that. You can always hover these at any time to see what you picked. You can see I leveled up, you gain XP, you get higher XP at the higher level you play. And so we'll click continue now. And there is a quick restart option, so that would be playing at the same king, at the same difficulty, or you can go back to king selection or main menu. If you take main menu, it will put you out to this screen, and if you take king selection, it will take you to this screen. So, King of Nothing, you'll get this little check mark on the difficulty that you just beat, and then you will unlock the next difficulty. So you can see on King of Nothing, I just beat Peasant difficulty, and I have not beaten Squire difficulty on King of Nothing. That means that I went and played somebody else on Squire difficulty and beat that to unlock the Knight difficulty. So here's all the difficulties, right? You go from Peasant to Squire to Knight, Lord, Baron, Count, Duke, Prince, King. Then, like, that's like the base game. There's 9 difficulties. Then you can keep going. So now there's King 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and King 9. And then you would think that after King 9 you get to go to King 10, but you go to King 9 2, and then King 9 3, and that's where I'm at right now. Just, I haven't played in a bit, but that goes up to King 9 9. I don't know if they're going to add more difficulties after that, but for the time being, I highly recommend that you stay at Peasant, and then you move up to Squire whenever you unlock that. Just try to play on that difficulty, but if you're having a hard time, definitely feel free to play at a lower difficulty to get your XP, and as you get XP, you will unlock perks very quickly. The way perks work is you will unlock 1 perk for every level that you level up on any king, and it'll alternate between the unique perks for whichever king you're playing at the time and the universal perks. So these gray ones are universal, and then the first time you get a king to level 3, 6, 9, or 12, you will unlock one of the rainbow perks here. So I have another video, the 9 tips for 9 kings goes over a little bit about the perks. Let me know in the comments if you want a more in-depth perks guide. But once you level up on the king, you'll get perks, and the perks will help you with your game. You can put them into these little spots, right? And take them down and then say, oh, I don't like that, I'm going to do this. Once you get these rainbow perks, once you get to level 3 on a king, let's say you get this nationalist perk. All adjacent king perks are applied one more time. So let's say you start with 3 free rerolls. Well, since it's adjacent to here, you get 6 because it gets multiplied by 2. But if it's over here, you just get it once. It doesn't work on the universal perks. This ingenious perk is what lets you level up your base 5 more times. And if you use verticalist with leftist here, you can get this multiplied by 3. So you can get your base to level 18. That is something that as soon as you get these 3 perks unlocked, I really like getting my base to level 18. That is my preferred play strategy because your base does a lot of damage on any king that you're playing, really. I highly recommend trying to get to this. And that would take getting a king to level 6 at least, but the rainbow perks and all of the perks unlock in a random order for every single player. So it's not guaranteed that you will get all of these perks until you get to level 12 on a king and have leveled up enough to get 9 unique perks. There's 11 universal perks, so you can have access to these once you unlock them on any king. And then 4 rainbow perks, which are also accessible on any king once you unlock them. So you hopefully can get these soon, but it's unique for every person. So my best advice is to just keep playing the game, level up your kings, and they'll be locked. This one's coming soon. It's coming out, I think, next week. But each one of these has its own unlock condition. These other kings will be unlocked until you meet the conditions for that king unlock. So starting out with King of Nothing, you get that one for free. For King of Spells, you'll have to use 9 spells. To get King of Greed, you'll have to spend 999 gold. For King of Blood, you'll have to kill 9,999 enemy units. For King of Nature, you will have to win 9 games, so that means getting to year 33 and winning. For King of Stone, you'll have to level up 99 plots. For King of Progress, you will have to level up 99 plots. For King of Nomads, you have to use 99 trick cards. So again, not all of them are super hard to unlock. They're just kind of time consuming to get you to replay the game. I hope this video was helpful for any new players who are ready to download and play 9 Kings, and overall, just have fun playing. I mean, it's a RNG roguelike deck building game, so you're going to eventually lose or end your run, and there's always new things to unlock, either difficulties, perks, kings, and it's a lot of fun. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful. Be sure to drop a like if any of these tips helped you with your first playthrough of 9 Kings. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on new 9 Kings content, and thanks for watching.